and on it goes. I couldn't find the fade out button, I just had to press stop. Hey folks, how you doing? Nick Jennison. It's the Monday Guitar Show. We're doing the thing that we do on Mondays, which is hang out and talk about the guitar. And today we are discussing a topic that is, well, it's close to my heart as a teacher, but it's also, I know it's something that you guys have asked about. Like, I'm not going to say endlessly, but lots of folks have asked about this, which is, hey man, like, how do I navigate the wealth of guitar lessons that are available to me, right? So many guitar lessons. Can you guys hear me okay? Is everything alright? We're getting some double audio. I wonder what's going on there. Just give me a quick moment. Let me quick, there's a delay on the voice. Well, we don't like that, right? Give us a quick second. I'm going to quickly sort this out. Let's see. Just give me one quick moment. Hello. Alright, are you guys receiving me now? Do you hear me loud and clear? Yes. Are you hearing me in the vocal? Give me a quick second. Echo sounds cool. We don't want echo, right? I'm going to be 1 second, guys. Bear with me just one moment. I'm going to black the camera, and then I'm going to fix this. Give me a quick second. Cool sound of backing track. We'll like the backing track. That is very strange. I'm not sure what's going on. I haven't changed anything, but give me a quick moment, and we'll address it. If you bear with me just 1 second. Alright folks, hopefully that is us fixed. Let me know. I want to know from you guys, have we fixed the audio issues? Let me just shift my gig bag. Hopefully we have. Hopefully, fingers crossed. It sounded pretty good in my headphones. Let me know if you can hear me the way you were supposed to hear me on this dialogue microphone. Nope, no change. That is very unusual. I don't know what the issue might be there. Settings, give me a second. Right guys, how about now? Are we sorted? Is everything a little bit better now? I think I know what the problem is. I think I know what the issue is. If it is fixed, let me know. Let me know if that is a little bit better. Let me know if that's working for you. Hooray! Excellent. It's always something stupid, isn't it? Always something silly. Never mind, we're back in the room. And I wouldn't mind, that jam was quite good. I was like, oh, I might pull some stuff from that jam and post it on my social media later. But never mind. Hey, these things happen. Not 100% sure what's caused that particular glitch, but we are back in the building. Anyway. Panic over. We're doing the thing that we do on Mondays, which is hang out and talk about the guitar. Today we're talking about how you can get past guitar lesson overwhelm. What does that mean? Well, there are lots of lessons out there, and I'm not going to like dog on us over here at Lake Library, but we are contributing to the fact that there are so many guitar lessons out there in the universe because we've got a whole wealth of guitar lessons. Sometimes, however, it can be a little bit much trying to like figure out, what do I work on, right? What should I be spending my practice time on? It's something a lot of students say to me all the time. It's like, look, I know I should be practicing on all this sort of stuff. I know I need to work on my chord playing, on my scales, on my theory knowledge, on my repertoire, on my improvisation, on my technique. Help, what do I do? Well, today We're going to see if we can fix at least some of that. But if you are new here, I want to welcome you on board. If you've been patient enough to sit through those audio issues at the start, I want to thank you for sticking around with us. It's not something that happens all the time. Normally we're pretty good at this, but you know, hey, it's live television, folks. So thanks for sticking around. We really appreciate it. We're going to say some hellos to people in just a second. If you're new though, welcome. We do this every Monday. We hang out, we chat about the guitar with the intention of trying to make you a slightly better guitar player when you leave than you were when you arrived. But don't forget, today's lessons are brought to you as usual by licklibrary.com, guitarinteractivemagazine.com. Go to licklibrary.com for guitar lessons. You'll know exactly which lessons to pick after this. And go to guitarinteractivemagazine.com for news, reviews, interviews, all of the above. We've got a free course for you this month. We're doing this every month, right? We're launching a free course, or rather we're unlocking one of the courses from licklibrary.com for you guys to try out. And this month it is Sam Bell's Pentatonic Explorer, which is a personal favorite of mine. I love me a bit of Sam Bell, and I particularly love the Pentatonic Explorer course. I think it's a really cool course, and one that presents the I guess the topic that causes a lot of people a lot of confusion, which is the pentatonic scale, in a very holistic fashion, as you might expect from Sam. It's great stuff. Anyway, listen, we're going to say some hellos. We'll skip past all the comments telling me the audio was not right, and then we'll get back into the meat of the session. We're going to start with Zach Lee, who says never enough guitar lessons. The thing is, I don't think the problem is too many guitar lessons. I think the problem is not enough time to actually go through said guitar lessons. So it's not a question of too many guitar lessons, it's a question of not enough time, Zach. I think you probably agree with me on that, right? We could go through oh, here we go. Timothy Appling says never enough lessons or practice, for sure. Totally agree with you, right? PJ is in the house. PJ says going back a few weeks I was struggling with 2 note per string, 3 octave patterns. Think Michelangelo. Wow, okay, that's a lot of stuff. I've improved simply by not moving my thumb position on the neck and therefore maintaining the same finger and fret angle. Early days. That's very interesting, right? We're going to address that. If you guys have questions, we'll get to that in a second. But what I think PJ means is, instead of kind of doing this business, it would be more something akin to maybe something like this. So every time we shift positions, the thumb kind of stays roughly where it is in relation to the back of the guitar's neck. If that's what you mean, I think that's a great shout. And hopefully, hey, hopefully that's going to go some way towards fixing your issues, man. Love a bit of that. Timothy Appling says, I like to switch between practicing, learning, and just jamming so I don't get burned out on repetitiveness. It keeps it fun. I think you're answering some of my questions here, man. Or you're giving some of my answers away, but that's fine. It's totally okay, right? Because that's something we're definitely going to hit upon, which is balancing the fun aspects of guitar playing with the learning aspects of guitar playing. We will get to that though. Dan Singh is in the house. I'm in the mood for guitar lesson. Dad says no. What? I don't know what that means, but hey, I'm glad to have you on board. Sacred Godslayer's in the house. Lovely to see you. Response Audio is here. Mike Seedorf is in the house. Lovely to have you. Larry Warren's here. Crankatom is in the house. We're going to say some quick hellos to everyone. Helmet Strap is in here. Says he likes to have a day of learning and practice, then a day of playing songs. Like a bit of that. Into that. Foghorn is just going to catch us on the replay. Marcin is here. Kate Strange is here. Franz is here. Deadman Doogie Van Doogens is here. Peter Montague is here. Mike Byrne is here. My knees hurt, so do mine. Mike Seedorf's asking about the pickups in this guitar. This is a set of amber pickups, Spirit of 59 humbuckers, which are PAF type humbuckers, classic style PAF humbuckers, but they're dressed in these very attractive covers, which is why they look so wild. I think they look really cool. Made by amber pickups, we love a little bit of that. Anyway, we've got all the comments about the audio being poor, which is such a shame. I was having a nice little jam there, but that's never mind. It's okay. It's neither here nor there. Who else do we have in the house? Very quickly, John McGuigan is here. Loves Sam's courses. Been working through the free pentatonic one this week. Let us know how you've been getting on with that. We like that. Stacey Douglas is in the house. Says, I work on the thing that bothers me the most. post about my playing, whatever that is, on that day of the week. I think there's nothing wrong with that, right? Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Couple more ones to say hello to. Very quickly, YouTube user, welcome. It's good to have you on board. That's me you're talking about. I want to learn everything at the same time. I think we're familiar with that. We're familiar with that. We've got some comments in. The jam sounded okay. Right, cool. Happy with that. Suits me. Right, maybe we just had enough sound from the guitar to make it work. Who knows? But we did have another microphone on, which was quite annoying. But it's no big deal. We're here now. So anyway, let's get into the meat of today's session, which is why guitar lesson overwhelm is such an issue and how you can get past it. So we're all familiar with this feeling of sitting down to practice and having so many things that we could potentially work on and so many lessons that we feel like we should address and not really knowing where to start. And often what this can lead us to doing is it can lead us to basically not doing anything, where we just kind of sit and we procrastinate and we create the perfect playlist of lessons and the perfect order of lessons to go through things in our own head. And then we move our playlist around and we go, oh, actually, maybe I should work on this. Oh, but I feel guilty about not working on the other. It can be a pain in the neck, right? It can be something that just stops us from actually doing anything with our guitar. If you're familiar with this, let me know, because I think this is something that is common to so many guitar players. It's certainly something that my students will talk to me about, this need to practice everything and then getting around to practicing nothing, which is obviously not the goal, right? Justin Ray says, definitely feel that way. Totally agree, right? I feel this way sometimes too, right? Where you sit down and you go, you know, I've got 30 minutes. What should I work on? What should I work on? Now, okay, here is hopefully a little bit of something that will help you navigate this. So we're going to begin with we're going to bust the myth that there is a perfect lesson that you should be working on. These should be working on. So much like if you were to find yourself inside the walls of a gymnasium. I keep talking about the gym, but you know, hey, I train on Mondays, right? So I come here after the gym, which is why my hair's usually wet. But much like finding yourself inside the walls of the gym, there is no perfect training program. There is no perfect practice routine. There is no one way that you can line up your practice and have it be the most perfect, the most optimal, and address all of your practicing needs. It is not possible. This is not something that you can do, and it is a fool's errand to pursue it, because it doesn't exist. I've tried, right? I've tried for years and years and years to put together the ultimate, the perfect practice routine. It just doesn't happen. Right? I have tried forever to look for the perfect order of lessons to go through things in and the perfect set of lessons to work on. It's not possible. You will not find this. So I want you to consider your lesson choices with that in mind, right? There is no perfect way to construct your lessons. There is no perfect way to put this all together that is the way that you should be practicing or the way that you should be doing it. It can feel like there is. It can feel like there's an obligation and that we're missing out if we're not doing certain things. But in reality, that's not the case, right? It's just not how this stuff works. Now, this leads me to the question of what should you be working on? And this requires us to do a little bit of introspection, let's say. So there are a few ways that we can classify this, a few ways that we can kind of categorize what we're going to work on. We can either work on things because it's going to do us good, or we can work on things because it's fun and we want to work on those things. Now, here's the kicker. Both of those pursuits are valid, and I would probably argue that they're both equally valid and need to be balanced in your practice routine. Things that are going to do you good, eating your vegetables, and fun things that will keep you engaged in your practice. Now, you may be sat thinking, as I have done many times, that the fun stuff can't possibly be it can't possibly be making me the guitar player I want to be, right? This is just me kind of like, oh, well, I'm rewarding myself with some guitar playing. I'm rewarding myself with some fun. Have you guys ever had that thought where you sit down, you play some stuff that's entertaining, and you go, I'm going to reward myself with some entertaining stuff? And I know that it's not making me a better player. I know that it's not making me a better guitar player, but I just want the reward. I just want to have fun and pat myself on the back for all the hard work I've done. Here's the thing. When we do that, what we are doing is we are reinforcing the reason, well, not reinforcing, rather. We are doing the thing that we actually learn the guitar to do, which is to play music, right? To play music and to have fun with the guitar. I've said this 1,000 times. Nobody wakes up one morning and goes, I'd love to get a guitar. I can't wait to buy a guitar and practice for 2 hours every day. I don't think, anyway. Maybe somebody does. But nobody I know has done that. Most people go, I can't wait to play the guitar. I'd love to play this song. Or I'd love to get on stage with a band. And I love the way it sounds when you do this big screamy thing. Or when you go like this. Or when it goes... whatever those things are. I love those noises. I want to make those noises. I don't think anybody sits down and goes, I can't wait to run my scales. So while we recognize that running your scales is something that's healthy for you, it's not the thing that we actually are trying to do when we play the guitar. And when we give ourselves some time and we allot some time in our guitar playing schedule for pursuing things that are fun, we are doing the thing that we actually set out to do. But here's the other thing. We are also improving our adherence to the guitar playing thing. Now, this leads me to a very big point, which is we've established there's no perfect program. We've established there's no perfect practice routine. So what is it that makes someone more likely to succeed at the guitar than somebody else who's maybe less likely? I think the big bulk of it is adherence. It's just sticking to playing the guitar. It's contact hours. Now, I'm not saying that unguided contact hours alone will make you a better guitar player or make you a great guitar player, but here's the thing. You've got to be playing the guitar to make improvements. You've got to actually have your hands on the instrument. And to do this, we've got to want to have our hands on the instrument, right? If it becomes a chore, we just won't do it, right? We've got plenty of chores in our life, right? We all have to do all sorts of things that we recognize we have to do as adult humans, but we'd really rather not, you know, do the dishes, wash the car, go grocery shopping, go to our jobs, whatever your job is. For me, that's not such an issue because I'm very lucky. I've got a job that I love, which is very cool. And I think about that every day and acknowledge how lucky I am. But we get this. If the guitar becomes one of those things, you're probably not going to pick it up. Your guitar's going to collect dust. And you need to be playing the guitar in order to make progress. So this leads me to point number one, I guess, which is to select at least some lessons that you think are fun. Things that you think you would like to do. Not things that you think would be good for you, but things that you would like to do. Is there a song that you've always wanted to learn? Or is there a technique that you've always wanted to master because you think it looks fun? Not because you think you should, but because it looks fun. It looks like something that's good and fun to play. Then do it. Make it part of your lesson selection process. Be guided by the thing where you go, ooh, that looks fun. I think I should do that. And don't worry about whether that thing that's fun is... the thing that's really super fun is not doing you the best. It's not doing you good. It's not going to improve your guitar playing. We'll worry about that later. Anything that gets you picking your guitar up and playing is a win, in my opinion. We'll get to the eat your vegetable stuff in a second, but we've got some comments that I want to highlight. Here's one from John McGuigan that says, I'm not sure about that. That made me wanted to play everything when I started. I had classical lessons for years, but wanted blues, rock, jazz, etc. Now it's just blues and classical, and both have gotten a lot better. We're going to get to that. Here's one from your mother, not my mother, I don't think. The thing that most people get... we're going to swear this early in the stream because we like money. We get annoyed with is some Guthrie Govan Speedy videos that are almost none of the videos show you how to play his songs slow. The only thing we can do is slowing down his videos, but will still sound problematic and listen to pick out all the notes. I think I know what you mean, right? I think I know what you mean. Yeah, finding these lessons that aren't super informative. Well, we've got that, right? We've got, if you want to learn how to play stuff, maybe not Guthrie Govan stuff, but we have got lessons from Guthrie. But yeah, Lick Library, we have too many lessons. We've got so many lessons, right? It's a crazy amount of lessons. So Here's a great one from Deadman Doogie Van Dugan. Says, when Deadman Doogie Van Dugan, I beg your pardon, when I get frustrated, I revert to playing punk just because it's fun. Excellent, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Now, here's the thing. We all want to be better at the guitar. And we recognize that, yes, we have to choose things that are going to make us better. And it can't all be fun, right? It can't all just be like, you know, fun times the whole time. Otherwise, all we do is we just sit and we learn our favorite songs and we'd never work on the hard stuff. And we recognize that we have to work on the hard stuff. But it needs to be balanced. It needs to be balanced with things that are fun. And if that gets out of whack, much like other things in life, things get out of whack, everything starts to become... it becomes a problem, let's say. So that is thing number one. Let things that are fun guide your decision-making process, and use that to balance with the things that you feel like you should work on. And this is where things get a little more complicated, because we all have so many things that we feel we should be working on. So many things that we feel need addressing, right? Because let's be honest, I mean, if I was to list my own things that I wanted to improve in my playing, right, I feel like some things are kind of where they should be. But I always feel like I could do with a little bit extra in the old fretboard visualization. Technique always needs a little cleanup. Phrasing could be better. Theory I'm okay with. That's not a huge issue, but I could probably stand to brush up on my sight reading. That's been a while, and I've got some reading gigs coming up, so I'm going to need to do that. There's a bunch of songs I'd like to learn. I always felt like I'd like to learn Arvia Musicom from start to finish. I never kind of got around to that. I learned Cliffs, and then even then I skipped over the solo and didn't really bother with the rest. You get where I'm going with this, right? There is always a huge, huge laundry list of lessons for us to turn our attention to, and it's not something we're always going to get through, right? So recognizing that we can't get through everything, I think we can frame things and say, look, it's better to do something than to do nothing, right? What are we going to do? Well, we've got all these things. We're never going to get through them all, so we might as well just pick something. If you choose the things that you feel like you need to improve in your guitar playing and spend some time choosing lessons on those, maybe just pick one thing or just pick a couple of things, right? Pick one or two things and work on those. So let's say, for example, you wanted to work on your physical technique, right? The physical technique on the instrument. I'm saying this because it's quite an easy thing to discuss, but we could do something else. We could do scale knowledge, whatever, right? But let's say physical technique, and we break that down into all the things that go into physical technique. You go, well, I need to work on my hammer-ons and pull-ups and my bends and my alternate picking and my economy picking, and oh my god, right? Suddenly it's huge stuff, right? It's loads and loads and loads of stuff. Pick one. Pick something. Anything. It doesn't really matter which one. Here's the cool thing about this, right? We did some goal setting lessons a little while ago, right? We did some goal setting lessons when we did our New Year sessions a few years ago. Definitely worth going and looking at those. And what we learned from those lessons and from the current research on the topic is that when we work on one thing, we're kind of working on everything, right? We don't need to split our playing up into these tiny little chunks and sort of say, well, look, if I only work on my left hand, I will never get better at picking, right? Not necessarily the case. I'm going to do some exercises with you, and I'm going to see if we can do some stuff that'll kind of like show you what I'm talking about here. So, very quickly, I'm going to go to a clean sound for this, right? We'll do some stuff with just our left hand. Let's get rid of the delay. We've had too much delay already today. Delay is the issue. It's cleanish. It's clean enough. Maybe it's not clean enough. Maybe I'll just back that down a little bit. I've just realized I've got the clean channel absolutely cranked on this amp, which always sounds cool, but it's not super clean. So let's say, for example, we are sat going, well, I need to work on my legato and I need to work on my alternate picking and all this stuff. Oh my God, what do I do? Let's choose a legato exercise. And let's see how this might influence our picking, right? What we're going to do is we're going to throw some drums on and we're going to play an exercise together, right? To give you an example of what I'm talking about here. So let's loop up some drums. We're going to use these ones. Let me know if you can hear them. I'm no longer confident with the audio, right? Hopefully you guys can hear that, right? So Anyway, our friend Scott Goodrum in the house. Scott, it's great to have you on board. An old pal, right? It's not split, but it does have that kind of split vibe. There's the split, though. Really pretty. So anyway, we've got our drums. We're going to do an exercise that is going to improve our capacity to play legato in time. And it's going to be as follows. We're going to play 3, 5, and 7 on our A string. And we've got a request from your mother asking about fusion jazz, so we might as well. We'll do a little bit of fusion-y stuff. Let's go 3, 5, 7. Then we'll do 5, 4, 5, 7. So 3, 5, 7, 5, 4, 5, 7. 7 notes in total. We're going to play them with as many hammer-ons and pull-offs as we can get. Difficult to talk and play at the same time, apparently. And now we're going to do the thing that a lot of legato players will do when it's time to challenge their legato technique, which is to change the subdivision. This is a time feel thing. Tom Quayle talks about this quite a lot, right? Let's try going. Ooh, my fault. Let's try that again. 3, 4. Now you may be wondering, but Nick, how is this going to help me with my alternate picking? I need to do that too. What am I going to do? Well, here's the deal. By improving this aspect of our guitar playing, we're also getting a little bit of the stuff that makes the alternate picking thing work. What is that bit of the stuff? Well, the bit of the stuff in this instance is timing. We're learning to time our left hand. And if our left hand timing is good, it's going to improve our ability to synchronize our hands when it's time to pick. Which would give us a bit of practice doing this. And so on and so forth. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is not to go, here's an exercise that will improve both your legato and your alternate picking. No, it's rather to show you that when you're studying one thing, you're actually probably working on more things than you think. And you can compound your practice in this way. You can take a practice and you can minimize the number of lessons you're looking at in the knowledge that by working on one thing, you're probably working on lots of things. So let's say that we wanted to work on some other qualities in our playing too. Let's say we wanted to work on our bending accuracy and we wanted to work on our blues phrasing. We wanted to work on our tone. We want to work on our vibrato and our dynamics. My goodness, that's so many things to work on. Could we do all of those with one lesson? Certainly could. What if we sat and we learned The Thriller's Gone, right? Or we learned a Stevie Ray Vaughan tune, or we learned a Peter Green tune, let's say, for example. There are lots of ways that we can take lots and lots and lots of things that we want to work on, and compound them. So I'm going to go back to the fitness analogy here, because analogies are important. Let's say, for example, that, and this is something that a lot of people will bump up against when they set foot in the gym. You know, you'll walk into the gym and you'll go, I don't really know what to do here, so I'm going to do a little bit of everything. I'd like big arms, they're fun, but I know I should probably also do something for other parts of my body. I've got some stuff back here, I've got some things in my chest, I should work on those. What should I do? There are so many exercises. For a lot of folks, you can do a great deal of stuff without a great deal of exercises. And the same is true for guitar lessons, right? So say, for example, you decided that you wanted to, you know, oh, I just want to get like bigger and stronger, right? And I've got all these things I need to work on. I might go, okay, well, let's say we can take one exercise to work on like a lot of the stuff from your waist down. We can take another exercise that'll work on a lot of the muscles that do this, some of the muscles that do this, and then maybe we'll do something with the muscles that cause you to hinge forward and all that sort of stuff. So maybe instead of splitting the body up into all sorts of tiny little sections and going, I must do some calf raises and I must do some forearm curls, we can go, well, what if we did some squats, we did some deadlifts, we did some pressing, maybe on a machine, some pushing, and we did some pull-ups. How does that sound? Everything. We've worked on all the things, right? The same can be true with the guitar. Now, you may not listen to that and go, well, wait a minute, what if I need to like grow my enormous triceps? I don't have enormous triceps, just they're there-ish, but even still, right? So what about my enormous triceps? Well, they're covered in the press. You might not think they are, but they're covered in the press. What about my biceps? I want biceps, right? Well, they're covered in the pull-ups. What about my calves and my quads? Well, they're in the squats. What about the muscles in my back? Well, they're in the pull-ups and they're in the deadlifts as well. And you kind of get where I'm going with this, right? Rather than feeling the need to tackle every individual thing, we can look at some exercises that move the big rocks, physiologically speaking, and we can do the same with our lesson selection. We can choose guitar lessons that address the big rocks, that move the big rocks, rather than going, let's drill down into the minutiae for everything that I need to work on. Oh my God, there's so many things. Move the big rocks. Now, if there are things that you want to work on specifically, this is another point that we can get to. So far we've said, make sure you choose things that are fun, right? Look at things that address lots of the things you want to work on at once. There's 2 points. Point 3 is going to be that it's okay to specialize. It is okay to take periods of your guitar playing life and specialize in certain guitar playing qualities for that time, right? For that period of time. You do not need to be working on all the things with the same amount of effort all of the time. Let's get to this one, right? So very quickly, your mother is saying, can you make the exercise with more notes and some chromatic? Can you make it longer? We can, absolutely, right? But the thing is, you know how to do that, right? Yeah, I'm sure you know how to do that. So, for example, very quickly, you wanted to make the exercise a little longer. I normally wouldn't do any more than maybe 7 notes, but let's say you want some chromatic passages, so we could go 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 4, 5, sorry, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we can go 5, 4. That might work. There you go. There's another exercise. What the actual exercise is immaterial. It doesn't actually matter for the purpose of demonstration what the exercise is. It helps if you do some tapping stuff to actually be able to get your tapping finger over there, but that's a me problem. So the actual exercise itself, it's not super important. I wouldn't say, but you know, for you, hey, there you go. Anyway, so specializing, what's that going to look like? Well, you probably, I'm going to suggest, you probably don't have enough hours in the guitar playing day to fully maximize every aspect of your guitar playing. Probably, right? Probably. Maybe you do. Maybe you have 8 hours to sit down. Sit down. Wait, and where's the tapping? He says, add it again. I don't know what it was, man. I was just making it up. I was just improvising. I couldn't tell you what it was. It wasn't it might have been a lick, but if it was, I couldn't tell you. I'm afraid. I would love to. I would love to go, oh, it's this note and this note and this note. I made it up. Sorry, man. It's improvisation. Anyway, even though it's probably something I play all the time. So anyway, but yeah, man, get your tapping chops on, right? So talking about specialization, maybe you have 8 hours a day. Maybe you have all the time in the universe to sit and work on every aspect of your guitar playing in excruciating detail. If you are, I'm jealous, because I would like that and I don't have that. And there have been times in my life when I did, right? There have been times in my life when I did have that time, right? But I don't have that time right now, and I'm jealous of people who do. But what I do have is I do have time to work on some specific aspects of my guitar playing. And I can acknowledge that some things are going to be put on the back burner. Now, right now, what I'm working on, because I feel like it's kind of slipped a little bit, is I'm working on my legato technique, funnily enough, right? It's on my mind. And I'm spending some time working on that. And I'm acknowledging the fact that my picking technique and the other aspects of my technique are probably going on the back burner for now. And I'm okay with that, right? I'm okay with that. I have made peace with the fact that there will be a period of time once the legato is back in shape when I can turn my attention back to that. But being okay with specializing is a big, important thing. So let's say that you want to specialize in, say, your phrasing, right? You want to specialize in your phrasing. You can choose guitar lessons that reflect that primarily, and you can do away with the other things that you feel like you should be working on, right? You'll get some of that anyway, because every time you play the guitar, we work on most of the qualities of our guitar playing just by the fact that we're getting contact hours with the guitar. But it is okay for you to sit and to specialize on your phrasing, or on your chord playing, or on your improvisation, or on any aspect of the guitar playing that you want to work on. So far, we've 3 important points, I think, for choosing guitar lessons, right? And I'm going to reiterate those before we move any further. The things are as follows, right? Things are as follows. First of all, let your urge to have fun with the guitar be a guiding locus when you choose lessons. Let that be something that guides you towards your guitar playing goal, your guitar lesson choices, right? Let that be something that guides you. You go, okay, look, I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to make sure that my guitar playing is fulfilling because I'm doing things that I enjoy and not just things I feel like I should be doing. Why? Because contact time on the guitar matters. And the more you're playing, the more progress you will make. And the more you'll feel inclined to do these things that are good for you. Adherence is the most important thing. And everything else is secondary to that. By adherence, what we mean is picking up your guitar every day. And if that means you just want to learn some songs, you just want to play the blues, great, right? Pick some lessons that work for that. Second thing, right, is to compound your practice, to compound your lesson choices by choosing lessons that work on basically, they work on lots of aspects of your guitar playing, right? Lots of aspects of your guitar playing. This is an easy thing to do, because most times we sit and work on basically anything, unless it is a pure specialized thing that we're going to get to in a second. We're actually working on most of the aspects of our playing, because you cannot play without physical technique. You cannot play without hearing notes. You cannot play without notes. Well, you can play without notes appearing in context, but most of the time notes appear in context. We cannot play without addressing dynamics, without addressing tone quality, without addressing all of the things that we feel like we should work on and we feel like we should slice up our time to do. It is very difficult to play basically anything on the guitar without working on basically everything. Of course, this leads us to our second point, or third point rather, which is sometimes you got to specialize. And sometimes you got to devote periods of your life to specializing in a specific thing or a handful of specific things that you want to work on. You want to work your way through an album, specialize. If you want to work exclusively on your fusion chops, specialize. If you want to work exclusively on your scale knowledge, don't be afraid to specialize. Don't be afraid to do that. You're not doing something wrong by specializing. The rest of the lessons will be there when you come back. This leads me to point number 4. Right, point number 4, which will be the final point on this before we start taking some questions. Because if you have questions, I would love to hear from you, right? And we're going to do some more stuff too. So the final point with this is to seek out the advice of a guitar player with more experience than yourself, right? And ask them, what do you think I should be working on? What should I be devoting my time to? And listen to their advice and consider taking it on board. Now, this is where, for you Lick Library members, our man Stu Shields comes in, right? Because we do offer one-to-one coaching sessions, right? You can call them one-to-one lessons. They're more like coaching sessions, and oftentimes they're more like therapy sessions, apparently. I've never done any. I'll be doing some at some point. But what they usually involve is our man Stu sitting down with a guitar player who's frustrated with the lack of progress and feels overwhelmed by the sheer amount of lessons that are available and wants to work on all the things all at once. And he sits down and he goes, yeah, you should do this. And you should do this for a month, and then you should change. You should come back and do something else. But for the time being, you should focus your attention on that. But it doesn't have to be one of our lessons, right? If you find a teacher, this is one of the best things about having a teacher, right? A face-to-face teacher that you go and visit every week or every month or however long, or you have online lessons with, is that the teacher will guide you. They will take away the urge to learn all of the things all at once, because they will tell you, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. Teachers don't have to be a formal, pay money relationship. It can be a guitar playing friend who you respect and who you go, look, you know what you're talking about. What do you think I should be working on? I've done this quite a lot with my pal Mickey. We'll sit and we'll go like, I'm feeling a bit like, I don't know, a bit like at a loss right now. Is there anything you're working on that's exciting, or anything, anything you feel like I should be working on? And we're quite honest with ourselves. We'll say things like, I feel like, maybe you benefit from working your timing a little bit. Or, I'm having lots of fun working on this. Maybe you'll enjoy that. Finding some guidance from somebody else to go, hey, work on this, can be absolutely invaluable, because it takes the decision away from you. Now, you need to be able to make these decisions yourself, but sometimes it's nice just to have somebody go, we're having this, right? This is what we're doing. It's a little like, going out for dinner, maybe at a friend's house, and you go, we're having this for dinner. It's nice, rather than sitting and going, what are we going to make tonight? Oh, do you fancy spaghetti? I don't fancy spaghetti, etc. You get the idea. And of course, the other thing about this is you get to spend some time with other guitar players, which is super important. So, to recap, very talky lesson today, it's why I was so stressy about getting the audio sorted. But I'm glad that we did, and I'm glad you guys pointed out to me that was wrong. We are doing the following, right? We are going to, first of all, recognize that we'll never get through everything, and it's okay, right? It's okay. Point number one is to focus on lessons that are fun. Find lessons that are fun and make that a big part of your practice, because it's going to improve your adherence. It's going to keep you coming back to the guitar. It's going to keep you picking up the guitar out of the rack and playing it. Point number two, choose lessons that address many aspects of your guitar playing all at once. Point number three, right? Point number three is don't be afraid to specialize. There are times when you're going to have to specialize, because it's just the way it goes, right? It's the way it goes. We can't work on everything unless you've got 9 hours in a day to do it. Maybe you're Steve Vai back in his youth. Who knows? You're probably not, but maybe you are. Who knows? But for most of us, we're going to have to specialize from time to time and recognize that it's okay to put things on the back burner. And finally, point number 4 is to enlist the services of a teacher. Maybe go and see Stu Shields, or a friend who will help you make your decisions and guide you along the way. Folks, we're going to dedicate some time to answering some questions, because I know you have them, right? So drop your questions down below. If you have them, we want to hear from you, right? So if you got questions, doesn't have to be about this, it can be about basically anything, right? So here is a good one from Response Audio, who says, I know some guys who would feel offended if someone mentioned they work on their timing or whatever. You need to throw away the ego sometimes. For sure, right? Absolutely for sure, right? Says, some people are only telling you the real nuggets of information. Absolutely, right? But this is the thing. This is why you need to have people that you trust. Trusted guitar playing friends in your life, because not everyone is going to fill that box, let's say. And yes, we need to get rid of the ego, but we all have ego, right? We've all got that going on. You can do your best to suppress it, but sometimes you go, who are you to tell me this thing? And we all do it. I try really hard not to, but I still get that sometimes, right? You'll go like, oh, you need to work on this. And I'm like, fuck you very much. Like, what are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. The reality of it is that if somebody's coming from a place of honesty with you, it's super valuable. But not everybody is coming from a place of honesty. Some people just want to pull you to bits, right? It's one of those things. Some people will see what you're doing and go, you've got no feel. Or, your chops are shit. Right? Does that make sense? Hopefully. So this is why it's important to enlist the services of somebody who is like, don't just go around telling people that, oh, hey, your timing sucks. I know you wouldn't do that. I know that's not what you're saying at all. But enlist the services of people that you really trust on this, right? That's very, very important. Very, very important. Here's one from Marcin saying, stellar point, we find things we are more comfortable with and develop them. That's the specializing. For sure, absolutely. Don't be afraid to confront your weaknesses, but the specializing thing is important. Here is a great one. From Response Audio, it says, if the person is a master player, I have an easier time taking the criticism. For sure, 100%, right, 100%. And what you also find is that the better players out there, I've enlisted the services of lots of these people over the years, and service is probably not the way of putting it, but I've asked them over the years, hey, look, what should I be doing to get to where you are? And the better the player, the more candid they've been about it, but also the kinder they've been. They've gone, you know what? You should probably work on this because I think they'll do you a lot of good and you'll probably enjoy, working on it and you'll enjoy the fruits of your labor. You should do this. If you ask somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about and is maybe a bit uncharitable, they'll maybe come out with something like, oh, well, you stand funny when you play. I don't know. Who knows? Right. But absolutely 100%. We've got, here's an interesting one, right? Here's an from Justin Ray, even the Olympians have coaches, for sure, 100%, 100%. And this is the important thing as well to recognize, a point with Olympians, Olympic athletes, the coaches of Olympic athletes cannot necessarily do the thing that the athlete can do, right? Usain Bolt's coach, I know he's not the 100-meter guy anymore, somebody else is doing that thing now, but Usain Bolt, still potentially the greatest of all time, as a sprinter anyway. His coach could not run the 100 meters as fast as Usain Bolt could run the 100 meters, but he certainly knew the things that Usain Bolt needed to do to become better at running the 100 meters. 100%, right? 100%. So here's one from France, a great one from France saying, I put some playing parts on YouTube to hear people's comments. Now, the comment section can be quite toxic, right? It can be quite... The comment section usually is not filled with people who are gonna, greet your playing with the best of intentions. But sometimes there's some hilarious stuff in there, right? I've had some really funny comments that have just tickled me. My favorite one was one guy said in a comment in a video, your big hairy knee is very distracting. I'm like, thanks, bro. That's cool. Yeah, I'm glad my knee was what you took from the video. It's entertaining. But yes, very interesting. Here's one from Sacred Godslayer, right? Sacred Godslayer saying, I have 20 to 25 daily, I'm guessing 20 to 25 minutes daily routine that's just to stay in shape and improve mechanically. I do it every day and it brings results. I sack stuff on it only if I have the right time and the right state of mind. That is, actually, that's a really, really good point, is sometimes it's good just to have one thing and just do that thing. I've done it myself for a long time, right? Where I had this selection of exercises that Nick Harrison was kind enough to share with me, where I'd sit and I'd do them ad nauseum, and I'd sit and I'd play this. That's one of them. There's another. Oh, missed that one. Etc, etc. And I had these exercises that I would play just with the sole purpose of keeping the chops happy. And that was kind of cool because I didn't need to pick anything. I didn't need to choose exercises. I would just play these and they would work, which is nice. At the minute, what I'm doing with that is I'm spending about 15 minutes every day. I don't know if it's 15 minutes or it's longer. I'm doing the first 3 rounds of Frank Gambale's Chop Builder, which is a lot of fun. Oh, that's the wrong one. Now, that particular video has not aged well. Let's just say that, right? It's aged about as well as Frank's haircut in that video. But the content, the musical content, or certainly the lesson content, superb. keep coming back to it. I'm like, let's do Chop Builder. We used to do Chop Builder parties back in the day when I was teaching for Yamaha. Always entertaining. Here's one from Mike Byrne. Mike Byrne is saying, is it okay to practice the electric guitar unplugged? You can practice the electric guitar however you want. There is no wrong answer to this. However, we can consider what might happen if you practice unplugged versus if you practice plugged in, and what you lose by doing one or the other. Now, practicing unplugged is an interesting thing, because if we practice unplugged, we get a direct representation of what our guitar playing sounds like just from the string. We hear the string, and we can hear the sounds that we're making. We can hear if we're playing cleanly, we can hear if we're playing accurately, we can hear if our timing is good, if we're fluffing any notes, right? It's a useful thing. But there are some downsides to practicing unplugged. And what I've noticed myself is when I practice unplugged for a long period of time, I spend so long, what am I talking about? Apologies, I was reading a comment, and I was getting ready to answer that comment as well. When I practice for long periods of time unplugged, my desire is to make the notes loud, and I make the notes really loud so I can hear them. Now, when I take that loud sounding set of notes and I convert those to my guitar with the volume on, it's clunky. That sounds great unplugged. It sounds clunky plugged in. That's quite a delicate touch, and that sounds quite nice. See, already I've messed myself up there. There's a nice delicate touch. If I play that unplugged, doesn't sound as exciting as if I really dig in, but digging in, it's not always the right move, man. So when we play unplugged, it's a cool thing, right? I think it's a good thing to do sometimes with specific goals in mind. And if it's the only option you have, play unplugged, right? But it can disconnect you from the plugged in sound and how the dynamics of your plugged in playing and your plugged in touch will influence the way an amplifier sounds, personally, I think. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the subject. Here are some other great comments, right? Other great questions. Phil Osborne is saying, I'm thinking about getting one-to-one online training, but not sure whether it'll work. Are face-to-face lessons better, or is it worth trying both and then choosing the one that suits me best? That last bit. But I think here's the thing, right? So while I would personally say that with the same tutor, let's say you have a tutor that you want to work with, right? I don't know, let's pick a tutor off the top of our head. Let's say it's Sam Bell, right? You want to get lessons with Sam Bell. I would probably argue that face-to-face lessons with Sam will probably be slightly better than online lessons with Sam. Slightly. I think it's going to be fractional, but I think it will be slightly better. However, there are players that we can only access online. And sometimes these are the players that we want to learn from. So I'm not saying that you will get a better class of teacher by going online. That's not necessarily true. But if there's a teacher that you specifically want to work with, and that teacher is only available to you online, or whether that's budgetary, or whether that's schedule, or whether that's location, who knows, or maybe that teacher doesn't offer one-to-one lessons, then go with the online lessons. Don't feel like face-to-face lessons are automatically going to be better. I think it's down to the teacher, but if you have the same teacher working on the same subject, I think face-to-face is more valuable and usually more expensive as well. So there's that to factor in. So it's kind of a complicated one. I would say if you have a teacher that you're thinking of working with and you think this is somebody I want to invest some time, getting lessons from, online I think is a good choice. Okay, here's one from Joey Dunno. Says, if I'm playing at night, I'm always practicing unplugged as my flat building is filled with older folks and I don't want to disturb them. That is very considerate of you, right? We like that. That's a good thing. He says, also playing plugged in helps you hear the nasty noise if you're muting slips, etc. Trust me, I'm working on it for sure. Absolutely. I think there are different iterations of plugged in sound as well. I think there's a difference between the experience of playing through an amp. I've got a little PRS combo set up over here, which I'm just using for its speaker at the moment, actually. I'm not going to plug in right now. That's a very flattering experience. Playing through my studio monitors, which I'm playing through today, less flattering, but still okay. Playing through headphones, less flattering again. So we have a kind of a spectrum of like how nice is the tone to play through. Play through an amp, it's loads of fun. Play through some studio monitors, it's still quite good fun, but it's less fun. Play through headphones, less fun again. But that can be good because playing through headphones really gives you that microscope effect on the difficult parts of your playing. We do need to be careful not to kind of like start hitting too hard because we're separated from the air in the room and we don't hear the clack of the string, for example. But this also prepares you for some other things that you might do in your professional capacity as a guitar player. For example, if you play using in-ear monitors, you should probably practice, or at least spend a given amount of the time of your practice time with your in-ear monitors, or at least with headphones. So I practice a lot with headphones because I use IEMs anytime I'm playing live, mainly to protect my ears, but also I want to hear the drummer and I want to lock in and I want to hear the bass player and the keys if they're there, or the other guitar player if they're there, and make sure my tuning is good. I want to make sure I'm complementing the singer and not treading on them. And this means, you know, playing in a less than flattering setup, which is with the old IEMs. So consider this to be a good thing, right? Consider this to be a good thing, right? Take your late night practice as an opportunity to grab some headphones and plug in and play, I think. Timothy Appling will make a couple of comments. Our last one says, I got plenty of time to practice these days. I usually play every day until I'm tired. Some days that might be 1 hour, some days that might be 3 or 4 hours. I like learning new techniques or songs so that it doesn't get boring. Now, I think you've hit on an interesting point there, which is the auto-regulation of practice time. Basically, deciding rather than going, I'm going to practice for 4 hours, you go, I'm just going to practice till I'm bored. And then recognizing when you're tired of it or you're bored or you've got something else you'd rather do, and then going, cool, draw a line under that, I'll come back tomorrow. I think that's very important, right? And we're going to make this our last comment. This is a very good one from Justin Ray. Says, as a teacher myself, I find clients who want lessons at home are usually the fastest to quit. An interesting observation as it shows a level of commitment versus going somewhere. Now that is very interesting, isn't it? Sometimes just the act of having to go to a place to do a thing is... it's big, right? So I've got my little studio, right? This studio is not in my house. I rent this in a little studio complex, which is about 12 minutes drive away from my house. It's not a huge distance, but it's enough that I go here and I go here to work. And this is the place that I work. When I was having a little studio in my house, which I had from, crikey, the time everybody got studios in the house, like around 2020, I was doing a bit before then, but I had my little filming space in my house where I'd stream from, and man, it was really hard to get any work done. Because I was just like, not because I was distracted or anything, it wasn't anything like that, but it was just like you go, well, I'm in my house, should I make a cup of tea? I should probably put the laundry away. Garden looks nice. Maybe I'll go and sit in the garden. You get the gist, right? So going somewhere is, hey, you know, yeah, going somewhere to do a thing, like having a place that you go to take your lesson or a place that you go to play your guitar, to practice, can be quite important. Anyway, folks, been a very talky lesson today. We're going to have some more playing coming for you guys in the following weeks, but I think this stuff is important. So I'm going to bid you adieu. My name's Nick Jennison. It's been the Monday Guitar Lesson. Don't forget, we got links down below to our community-run Discord, which Marcin has kindly set up. Go click the link, join. It's great, right? Everybody should go and join. The link is in the description. We finally sorted that out. We also have a link to our free course for this month, which is Sam Bell's Pentatonic Explorer. My name's Nick Jennison. I'll see you next Monday. On your way out the door, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, a subscribe, subscribe. Share this with your guitar playing friends. We'd like to get it out to as many guitar players as we possibly can. I'm going to play out on that same backing track that we played in the intro because it's a lot of fun, and the amp is shouting at me now, but that's fine. It's okay. It says, you haven't been on the distortion channel for a good length of time. Go back to the distortion channel. Who am I to argue? I'll see you guys next week. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.